Adding orders to Darby inventory. To create a new order, click Orders on the left and then the green plus sign on the right. There are two types of orders, rental and sale. Rental is when you're leasing or renting your items to your customer, and sale is when you're selling your items to your customer. So we will select rental. And then for customer, you can either select from an existing customer by beginning to type that name, or if it's a new customer, type the customer name, and you'll see that it says create new with what you just typed, and that will create very basic customer information. If a tax rate applies, you can select that from the list, as well as if a PO number exists, you can enter that here. For order date, you can either select the appropriate date. In our case, our order date is the actual staging date. So even though we're creating the order today, we're not staging this house until the 31st, which is the date that I will enter. Expected return date isn't typically added when you create a new order unless you know the time frame for the pickup. So for example, if this is just a 30-day contract, then I can go ahead and enter November 30th as the expected return date. But for now, we'll leave that blank and it can be added later. We'll enter the staging address. And then you can also add order notes that will be displayed on screen, as well as you can choose whether or not to print those on the printed order. So we'll just say this is an order note so we can see that. And then summarize invoices is used when you use our invoice module. If you say no to summarize invoices, it will itemize all of the items on the order. If you say yes, it will simply give you a total for the rented items and then the service type items. So we're gonna switch that to yes for now and then click save. And that will create the basic order information without adding any items to the order. If you need to edit any of the information that we just created, just click the edit button and then you can edit any of that information. So later on, when you do get the call to destage a house, at that point you can put in the expected return date. So we'll click cancel. And then there are multiple ways that you can add your items to a sales order. The first way is to simply click add item, which will bring you to the new order items screen. Here you can start entering any part of the name, description, or barcode if you know that. So I will start one with the name. I know that I want to add the Ashton sofa to this order. You'll see that it pops up an image, which is really nice because oftentimes, we think we know what something is called. And if we don't, if the wrong item pops up, you can always click the X and then start typing in the proper item. So we'll go ahead and we'll add back that Ashton sofa. And then from here, we will assign this to the living room, and all of our default information is there. We can also add item level comments. So, if I didn't assign it to a room, I could say this will go on the east wall, for example. From here, you can click save, which will add that right to the sales order and bring you back here. You can also add items and then select save and add another. So this time I'll start typing in the description, gray leather side chairs. Again, it pops up my Ashton side chairs. Those will also go in the living room. And we're gonna put 2 in there. And we don't need a comment, but this time I'll say save and add another. And what that does is just bring you right back to this screen so you can continue to add your items. So let's say I'm going to add the coffee table, and I'll say gold coffee table, and it brings up the Tama coffee table. That is the correct one. I'll also put that in the living room. I can do save and add another. So you can just continue to add your items that way. So we'll go back to view this order, and you can see all of those items have been added to the living room. The second way to add products to a sales order is from the products screen. So if I go over to products, and let's say I want to add more of those TAMA items, I can select this item, say add selected to an order. So you can do add multiple items to a sales order at one time. I'll select the sales order, click add to order, and it does keep you in the product list at this point. So you'll need to go back to orders, click on the order, and there it is. And I forgot to assign that to a room, but we'll do that a little bit later. And then the last way is you can scan your items. So I don't have a scanner hooked up right now, but I'll kind of just fake it here, and I'll just add a couple barcodes, art-L1 and rug-L1. So if I were scanning, you just put your cursor in this field, start scanning your barcodes, and they'll be displayed in this screen. Then simply click add to order, and there you can see that TAMA side table. Actually, in this case, it was this large art and this Ashton area rug. So I can select those items and then add all of them to a room at one time by clicking this actions and then assign to room and clicking living room. When I click update, now all of the items are in the living room. The last way, or also part of scan items, is if we click scan items again, you can also upload a barcode file. So one of the scanners that we currently support also acts as a jump drive, so you can scan the items into a file. The default is usually called barcodes.txt, and then you can upload that file from here. So if I click browse, barcodes.txt, there's my file. It has a few barcodes in there. I'll select open, add to order. Now it added these items that were in that barcode file. Again, it didn't, with scanning, you can't assign your room. So I'll select those items and say assign to room, and we'll put these in the master bedroom. Click update, and now those are assigned to the master bedroom. So those are the basics of creating an order and adding items to a sales order. In the next tutorial, we'll look at some of the other actions that you can take on a sales order, as well as some of the additional information that is provided here.